Today, on the Daily Christian Update, we will discuss the ontological argument. So here is our host, Melissa Garcia.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Christian Update. Today, we will be discussing the ontological argument, which is to prove that God exists based on idea and thought alone. We will bring in two parties with different points of view to prove that
there is God.
People come against this argument, and they say, oh, so if I can think of a perfect island, then therefore it must exist. Well, as a Christian, I would say no, because the perfect island is created based off things that already exist. We as humans, we have finite minds, and therefore there is nothing that we can recreate or make something new. You see, the God that I know is all-powerful and all-knowing, and we will be using these two attributes to help us further understand the ontological argument without the other arguments that help us to fully comprehend the ontological argument as a whole. Please, let's bring in our two guests.
And our first guest today, a well-known atheist, Brittany Medeiros.
Hi, Brittany. Welcome. Have a seat.
And our second and final guest for today, a well-known Christian, Annalicia Aguiar.
Hi, Annalicia. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Have a seat. So, Annalicia, I know that you have a few questions here for Brittany. Here's your chance.
So, Brittany, why don't you believe in God?
Well, I need more than feeling and emotion to convince me that there is a God. Now, you Christians have the idea that there is a God, but I believe in logic and fact, and I haven't had it proven to me that there is a God. For example, you Christians say that your God is perfect, one of his attributes being omnipotence, meaning that he is all-powerful. Well, tell me this, if your God is all-powerful, then could he create a stone that he couldn't move? Because if he couldn't create the stone, that's something that he couldn't do. And if he could create the stone, he wouldn't be able to move it, and that's also something that he couldn't do.
And Annalicia, what do you have to say to that?
Well, Brittany, I understand your question, but this would have to imply that omnipotent means to do something logically impossible, and it doesn't. Omnipotent means all-powerful and mighty, not the ability to do just anything. It's just like asking the question, can God, the all-powerful being, create a square out of 3 sides? This is logically impossible, because a square always and only can be made up of 4 sides.
There is God.
Okay, Christian, well, explain to me this. Why can't God do the logically impossible if he can do anything?
That's a good question.
Well, because you need order. Without order, nothing can make sense, including existence. So you can't just do something logically absurd to disprove the existence of God.
There is God.
Okay, well, you say that God exists. Well, how do you know that there's only one God?
Oh, snap.
Annalicia, do you mind if I answer this question?
Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, as you see, Brittany, listen, and please listen carefully. If there were more than one omnipotent being, so say there were 2 omnipotent beings, meaning they're all-powerful and they're both God, their wills could or may contradict each other at some point. For example, if one omnipotent being wanted to have unicorns on their planet and the other one didn't, right? What if one wanted them banned and one wanted unicorns? That would be logically absurd, first of all, and second of all, that would cause major conflict. So you see here, therefore, we have to understand that because of this, there can only be one omnipotent being, which we know as God.
But bam.
There is God.
Okay, I'm starting to understand what you're saying. And, well, you Christians, you say that your God is a God of love, right?
Right.
Okay, well, how do you know that he's a God of love and not a God of evil?
Well, you see, C.S. Lewis stated it just like this. It is impossible for one to be evil just for the sake of being evil. For example, cruelty happens when one wants to gain something, such as power, safety, or even pleasure, which all of them are good things, but evil comes when people pursue these things with the wrong motives. Evil is nothing more than the pursuit of something good, but in the wrong way. Unlike evil, you can do something good for the sake of just being good. So the creator of the moral universe, God, must be good, because evil cannot exist on its own, and it's just a perversion of good. Therefore, God must be a God of love.
There is God.
All right, well, based on the ideas that you both presented to me, I'm not going to deny that you aren't starting to convince me on the existence of God. But you say that your God is a God of love. And love, isn't that an action shared between two people?
So yes, love is shared between two people. And for this reason, Jesus died on the cross for you, so that you can receive salvation and have a personal relationship with the one and only Almighty God.
I hope that this has helped you understand the ontological argument. Please join us tomorrow on the Daily Christian Update.
God.
Conclusion, the ontological argument proves the existence of God through the idea that man, in his limited finite mind, cannot create the concept of perfection, because we are imperfect beings. We compare and use like things to describe ideas and objects. God is completely unique and cannot be compared to anything in existence. He is one of a kind, and we as humans could not conceive this if there wasn't a perfect God to have given us this thought and idea.